For the knitted cast on, you want to leave a tail about 5 to 6 inches, just long enough to weave it in. Form a slip knot and then move everything to your left hand. Put your working yarn, and now we're going to knit this stitch. So insert your needle from left to right into the front of the stitch, pull through a loop, but instead of removing your needle, you're going to turn your right needle out of the way, insert your left needle from left to right into that stitch, and then remove your needle. Now I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. The first way is the regular way, the normal way of doing it. Insert your left needle from left to right into that stitch, and all you're doing is transferring this stitch from the right needle to the left needle. You're just getting this out of the way, inserting this from left to right into the front of that stitch, and that moves it to the left needle. Left to right. This is also known as the chain cast on. It gives a little bit of a looser cast on. It's good for a soft edge. So if you have maybe a little bit of lace or an edge where you don't want something very rigid, you can see it's not creating much of an edge at all. So it's good for a nice soft edge. It is good when you don't want to estimate how much yarn to use, like you do with the long tail cast on. You know how you have to estimate out how much yarn your tail is going to take. This one's nice because you don't have to do that. You just make a 5 or 6 inch tail. It's also good to use when you already have stitches on your needles. Okay, I'm going to do it the second way now. All this is the same. The difference is, instead of inserting your needle from left to right, you're going to come around almost from underneath and insert it from right to left. You've just twisted the stitch. And now put it on the needle. So we insert the needle from right to left and remove the right needle. We insert the needle from right to left and remove the right needle. The reason you would do this is if you want a slightly firmer edge. By twisting that stitch, the first row is going to be twisted and it's not going to give quite as much stretch. The differences are very minor. I mean, we're not going from a super stretchy cast on to a super rigid cast on, but it does hold the stitches a little closer together. So if you already have your knitting on your needle, this is a good cast on to do, let's say for a buttonhole, or if you are adding on stitches for an underarm. You're working top down and now you need to cast on those underarm stitches. This is a good one to do that because it's not too rigid. It has a little bit more substance than the backward loop method. Okay. So as you look at the stitches that we just did, these were the ones that were done normally and these were the ones that were twisted. You can see those are a little bit tighter, but the biggest difference is going to come after you've started to knit. So I'm going to knit across one row so that you can see how it behaves. So as you're knitting it, you can see this strand just sort of drapes across there. The strand itself looks exactly the same from the first method to the second method. It just loops from the back to the front across that needle. There's no difference. The difference is what happens underneath that stitch. It's the part down here that is different. So these look the same from the twisted stitches to the regular stitches. I find the twisted method a little bit easier to work. I don't know, it just, the rhythm of moving from the right to the left feels natural, feels nice, which isn't really a good reason to pick a cast on method. It should be based on the results you're going to get. So here is, now can you see the difference? This side looks a little thicker, this side looks a little thinner. So if you look at each stitch, you can see it looks normal. You have a stitch at the top and stitch at the bottom, and nothing is crossed. Everything looks nice and neat. Over here, you can see this, the bottom of this stitch is crossed. You see the diagonal line that goes? That is the twist. And when you have cast on normally, you can stretch this out as so. On this side, you can also stretch it, but it's only going to stretch as far as that cross will let you take. Again, these are really, really minor differences. This gives you an open look. This little bit of a twist does help to snug up those stitches close to each other a little bit better. So it creates a slightly firmer cast on.